Welcome back. Now let's meet an artistic Orange County principal who you may already know as Pirate Petey or Sammy Surf, or maybe just as Mr. Visca of It's Curtoon Time.
I was raised by loving parents, and my father was a high school teacher. He also taught middle school, and he worked with special needs students back in the 60s and the 70s. So as a kid, I was always around students, and he would take me into his classrooms, and I still to this day have a picture in my office of me sitting behind the desk just smiling. And it's fun when people come in and they look at it and they go, "Hey, is that you?" And I go, "Yep, that was me when I was about 4 years old." And there's a nameplate in that photo on the desk that says Mr. Visca for my dad, and now I have that on my desk in my office. I've been an elementary school principal for over 20 years. I started pretty young. I always liked being a teacher, and that's what I wanted to do. But my dad, who was very influential, said, you might want to think about your education and what you want to do with your career. And so he encouraged me to get my master's degree, and he said, you might want to get it in administration, and someday you may want to be a principal. And at the time, I'm like, Dad, I really just want to be a teacher, but I'll take your advice. I opened a new school when I was about 30 years old. It was a lot of fun to be able to open a brand new school, just starting right out as a new principal. In addition to education, I developed another passion when I was really young. I think I was born with a pen in my hand. I always liked to draw. I was the doodler. So in school, when there was free time, if there was any, I would draw. I would help the teachers with their bulletin board displays. By the time I was in college, I found a way that I could combine both of my interests in a television show called It's Curtoon Time. The idea for the show came about when cable started coming into existence and learning that cable companies needed to offer opportunities for public access. There was not a lot of quality content on TV for kids, and so my goal was to have something wholesome, something that parents would feel good about. And the main goal was that kids would feel confident and learn how to draw. And being an educator myself, I knew those were fine motor skills, listening skills, following direction skills, all the skills that kids really need to succeed in school and succeed in life. When I first did the show, I was dressed like a principal or a teacher, and I just did basic instruction. And my father, I showed him one of the shows, and he looked at it and he goes, you know, you like to dress up. Maybe you should dress up like a clown or a cowboy or a pirate. Try that. So then the next couple shows, I started dressing up. That's when it took off. That's when it had the humor in it. It went from serious instruction to a lot more fun and enjoyment. Somebody asked me once, how many characters do you have on the show? I would bet I have over 50 or 100. And there's some where I called them the one-hit blunders, where I only did them for 1 or 2 shows and that was it. And then there's other characters that are so popular that I would do them over and over, like Sammy Surf.
Radical, you're watching It's Curtoon Time.
There's 2 major moments of the show. The first would be Disneyland. I worked there from high school through college, and to be on a set doing 2 shows there and seeing the rides and the characters and so forth, that was one of the big moments. The other was doing 2 shows with Wyland on the beach.
Yo, come on up, Wyland. Let's give Wyland a big round of applause. Dude, all right.
Here's somebody that I've always admired as an artist, and he even told me too, he goes, I watch your show and I'm so excited to be on it. And to this day, I remember drawing, and he goes, I like to collaborate, and he drew as well on the same board.
When you collaborate, you elevate.
I thought in my mind, I go, this is one of those moments I do not ever want to forget. I still have the drawings that we did on those shows. So there's some shows that I would like to forget, but they were so much fun. I was Pirate Petey.
We're gonna draw 3 cartoons, fascinating step by step.
And this fog kept getting thicker and thicker, and the camera was close enough to see me, but there was a point where I could barely be seen. And then we hear the alarm go off, and I remember the whole facility needs to be evacuated. The fog from the show had been piped through the entire Cox Communications facility, and they thought maybe the place was burning down, but it was really from us doing the It's Curtoon Time show with Pirate Petey. My experience as an educator had a big impact on the show, but the show also had a big impact on my career as an educator. And I realized that I like to bring the fun factor to school. I never really internalized it until my 5th school, and I realized I like to dress up. I still need to be serious and wear the suits and so forth, but I do things called Funky Friday, where I wear a fun hat, I play music for the kids. I go into the classrooms and I reward the kids with drawings. I do keep the two separate, but on the other hand, I kind of incorporate that fun factor that I do on the show into what I do as a principal at a school site. It's really touching and humbling where I've had family members of my students come to me and say, you know, I grew up with your show and now I have my own kids and they watch this show.
What a fun way to learn to draw. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of Salute to Education. And remember, you can see all these stories again on our website, 4sd.com, on the Salute to Education page. And if you've got ideas for a story you'd like to see on the show, you can send us the message through the webpage as well. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.